In 1999, Andrew Radziewicz was serving in the Coast Guard and had a life-changing UFO encounter with 20 other witnesses. This Nimitz-style encounter would eventually lead Andrew to meet Dr. Stephen Greer and learn the CE5 method in 2011. After meeting with Dr. Greer, Andrew started to train with psychic medium Robert Hansen in Long Island, New York, after he was told by Mr. Hansen that he had the gift of being a psychic medium. Since meeting with Dr. Greer, he has had dozens of 100% peaceful interactions with UFOs and ETs. Andrew has a unique gift and combines his psychic abilities and UFO contact all at the same time. He is on a quest to show the connection between UFOs and the afterlife. In 2022, Andrew had his UFO videos professionally analyzed from MUFON, Australia. His video footage will be featured in a 6-part documentary series on the Discovery Channel called Close Encounters Down Under. Andrew is the real deal. I first became aware of him when he did a Friends podcast, and after I posted a clip of what he said on that podcast, I was attacked on Twitter because I think it hit close to the truth. We dive into that here and much more.
Garry gets DNA. Kit Green focuses on brain scans.
Okay.
So he wants to look at the brains of contactees. Money person paying for this, Bigelow.
There you go.
It's that simple. We don't need to conspire. It's that. Boom, done. So Bigelow was the money guy. He basically had the money to do a study. Now, if you ask John Burroughs or other experiencers that have gone through this, I've heard, wow, Garry Nolan asked for my DNA too, or Kit Green did, and no one will tell us what they're doing with our DNA.
I want to thank you for taking the time and chatting with me. And I know we've been like missing each other and stuff and everything that's been going on, but like I saw you on James Indoli's show, right? And James is like the guy that got me into this, right? He literally was the guy that was like, dude, you should do this. Like you should do this, man. Like you have a voice. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, you say a lot of good stuff. And I'm like, whatever, dude. So anyways, he ended up talking me into it. It was like right when the pandemic hit. And so he was like essential in me getting started and showing me the ropes and all this stuff and getting me on. So then when I saw you on a show, I was like, wow, how come I've never heard of you before? This is amazing. Like James never said anything, and I'm just like, and then like those things that you said, like just rang all these alarm bells for me. And I was like, wow. Cause I've been writing a book and I have notes and I have like all this stuff and I have, friends, and I'm like, holy crap. Andrew just said all of the shit that I've been speculating, that I've been putting pieces together for all these years.
Yeah, man.
I was like super excited about it. So dude, thank you so much for taking the time and chatting with me. Yeah, man, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
I love your story, man. I love the whole thing. I know a lot of people know it. And it's awesome. I mean, it's cool that you do what you do every day. And it's amazing before I got into the UFO thing, I mean, I was always into UFOs, right? So that was how I started off. But then the psychic aspect of the whole thing just took over. I mean, massively, right? Almost from the beginning. And it's almost like bread and butter, they always go together. And I didn't really, and it's just now that I think a lot of people are kind of waking up to that realization that there's that whole component that's interbaked, like you almost can't have one without the other. And, that was interesting to hear your story about all of it too, where it's intimately related, right? I mean, obviously you've had experiences that are mind boggling on both ends of that spectrum. So, and together, right? Like from like your experiences have been, they correlate massively, so, I mean, like, do you remember your first UFO experience, and was it related to a psychic experience that you ever had?
So the first UFO experience I talk about, I mean, I've mentioned this, you might have heard a little bit of this, but when I was in the Coast Guard.
Oh, right.
So prior to that, some paranormal stuff, but nothing like nothing like this. This is different. Okay. This is, and what I mean is, so growing up in life, people would die and I would kind of think that, all right, kind of feel like they're around me. I'm not certain, but being a kid growing up in Long Island, I grew up in Long Island. I came from a regular household. My dad was a firefighter. Mom was a teacher. So I would talk about these things, but it wasn't like we were talking about it every day. It's like, all right, you're a little kid, you're bringing this up. Oh, I think someone's around me because they passed away. It only goes so far. They're like, oh, maybe it's your imagination, or they just brush it off.
Or that's how you're dealing with the grief or something like that. Maybe. Right.
Absolutely. And I have to say, I get that. And I understand that now over the years from one being a parent, right? I have 3 kids now. So now I get it. Okay. Maybe kids are just they have that imagination, or they're dealing with something. Whereas it goes a little deeper where, if you're getting visual contact or they're pointing to something, okay, there's a little bit more to that, right? Than just,
Right.
oh, these things are around me, or I'm seeing lights in the sky, or I'm seeing spirits. While I have them on video and photo and I could show you them, that's a whole different ballgame. So
especially in the two-way communication, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I wasn't taking photos. I wasn't taking videos. This is I was born in 1980. So I grew up in the 1980s, 1990s. I wasn't going around with a 35 millimeter camera taking photos. Not at all. I just thought, okay, everyone experiences this. I thought this is normal, right? But you don't talk about it. You don't go to school and say, hey, I saw a ghost in my room, or there was a light outside at night. I don't know what it is, right? That'd be a little weird.
Yeah.
So I was lucky that I had a grandmother who was into watching the show Unsolved Mysteries.
Scared the shit out of me my whole life. When Robert Stack would come on, I'd be like looking all through my house, man. Like turning out every light.
Right?
I'm almost the same age. I was born in 79. So yeah, I'm flipping out every light that, it was Wednesday night. Every light on my house was on because Unsolved Mysteries is on.
Exactly. I love, right? It was scary, but yet I had to watch it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I got to see what's next. Oh my God, that's so scary. But it was different. And I'd watch that with my grandmother. Then we watch marathons of it. They'd have the whole weekend on Lifetime TV. So I'd go to her house on the weekend and just sit there. I didn't have cable in my house. So it used to be on cable back in the day. Go to my grandmother's house with cable. We'd sit there, we'd watch. And I'm like 13 at one point, and I look at her one night, and I don't know why. I just looked at her. They were showing it was like a ghost, like a life after death type episode.
Yeah.
And I look at her and I go, Graham, I said, when you go to heaven and, you're okay and you're with Grandpa, can you give me a sign? And she looked at me and she goes, yeah, I promise I will. I said, but I don't want to see a feather or like a coin on heads. You know what I mean? Like, I want that. Right. What's on TV? Give me that. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Sign for me. Oh my God. That's wild. So that was it. We never brought it up again. We didn't tell anyone this. That was it. Done.
Yeah.
So fast forward to 1999, 2000-ish, right around there. I'm in the Coast Guard. I'm stationed in South Florida in St. Petersburg.
Nice.
I'm on the Coast Guard cutter Durable. It's a 210-foot medium endurance cutter. So we in the Coast Guard, it was funny when I was looking to join either the Coast Guard or the Navy, my Uncle John, who passed away. My Uncle John was an admiral in the Navy, and he worked on submarines for over 20 years. And then he worked for Lockheed on ballistic weapon systems.
Nice.
Yeah, great guy. And I said, Uncle John, I want to join the Navy. And he goes, no, you're joining the Coast Guard. I go, what? Why? He goes, trust me. I said, what? He goes, trust me. They'll take better care of you. You go on shorter tours. I was like, all right. But I didn't know. I'm like, all right. So I just did it because I
trust the guy, right? Yeah.
So I did it. I was a kid, 18, 19. I know I don't want to go to college. Like I want to work, but I don't want to work. I kind of just want to travel and have a good time. I'm young. So I do that. So I am the night watchman, and that would inquire for your listeners just so what does that mean, the night watchman? So I was on the deck force. So you drive the boat, and at night, overnight, someone is always driving the boat, or someone is on the top deck, all the way on top, and they're looking out with binoculars, doing a perimeter scan of the ocean and the sky for anything. So obviously, if you see stars, that's obvious, but anything moving, anything that looks like it's moving, just call it in. Why not? Because you want to correlate what you're seeing to what's on the radar.
Yeah, right. Makes sense. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And it's good training. So that way, this is pre 9/11. So this is late 90s, like I said. So it was a different military to after 9/11, so we had different laws. I just knew at the time, if anyone crossed the bow, so the front or the back of the boat, the bow or the stern, if anyone crossed the back or front and they didn't get on the radio and tell us who they were and identify exactly what they were doing, we could, by law, shoot them. Law.
Okay.
Because we had to take that as a threat.
Yeah, understandable.
The law, hey, you got to tell us, you got to get there's an emergency radio channel that everyone is on. So it's like an obvious thing. Now, once in a while, people would get drunk on their boat. They'd forget. Now, we probably don't shoot at them. We don't want to shoot at anybody, but if we took it like they were coming at us, that's That's a
different.
threat, right? So
Totally. Yeah.
once in a while, if we saw somebody that didn't communicate with us, we would send out a little RHI, just a little orange boat, basically. And we'd speed over to them, check them out. We don't want to give anyone a ticket. We don't want to even give them a hard time. Just, hey, man, turn your radio on, stop breaking our chops. And usually that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Normal day, normal night, right? You're going out, you're checking on boaters, fishers, that's it. So that's an ordinary day. Once in a while, we would go look after migrants that were trying to rush in from Cuba to Miami.
Right.
So they would get on these big speedboats, little boats with giant twin engines, and like 20 or 30 of them hiding in the floorboards, boom, ripping through, trying to get in. And it was our job to try to chase them down. It was us, the Navy, the Miami police. It was a whole cluster operation, man. It was wild.
Wow.
And I'll never forget this, man. Some people we found, their skin was purple from being in the sun so long and being sunburned.
Holy
purple
God.
from sunburn. Yeah. People, wherever they were coming from, Cuba, whatever countries, it was so bad that they would make these makeshift life rafts or boats. They would get in them and they don't have compasses. They're
just drifting.
Trying to get, so they're going, and sometimes they're going in circles. And we'd catch them and we'd say, where you from? Oh, Cuba. We call Cuba. Oh, do you have these 5 people? No, they're not from here. So now we have to keep them. That's the law.
Oh, wow.
So that's why so many migrants got in, because once we catch them, Cuba or wherever, they go, no, they're not citizens here.
So, all right, we have to take it.
It's your problem.
Yeah, figured that loophole out, right? Yeah, we're from Cuba. If they catch you, so you're from Cuba. Okay. Yeah.
Well, it was. They had a dry foot policy, at least in the late 90s, that if you got on shore, meaning
you were in.
It doesn't matter. If somebody dropped you up on a boat, if you swam in, if you got on the shore, they couldn't touch you. That's crazy, but whatever. It is what it is. That was the law. So our job, we tried to, intervene and get in the middle. Sometimes we catch them, whatever. Once in a while, you get drug runners, people, coming in with massive quantities of cocaine. I mean, tons, bro. It was crazy.
Just right to Miami. Boom. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, and I've seen literally sometimes planes would come by, or once in a while you'd be out in the ocean and there'd just be literally a bale, like a square container of wood with piles of cocaine on it. So sometimes a plane would come, drop it, and then a speedboat would come, pick it up, and so we would try to intercept it.
Yeah.
Could.
Right. But you guys have night vision? Obviously, in the 90s, you had to have night vision.
So we had night vision. And like I said, that's a normal day. So at night, I'm the night watchman. I'm on top of the boat. I have regular binoculars. I have night vision goggles.
You're looking for all this shit all the time. You're looking for this. You know what to look for.
Exactly. You're looking for everything, man. So you're on point, man. This is no joke. So it's after midnight. I'm the lone watcher. I'm like 19 years old. And I'm looking in the sky. I look on the ground. There's nothing on the ocean. I look in the sky and there's a silver object and it's moving. So I'm like, oh, that's got to be a satellite, right? I don't know. I'm looking through night vision. So when you look through night vision, it's like greenish. It's like a greenish thing. But if you look with your naked eye, you can see colors. So the color I saw was like a silverish white type object.
Right.
So I call down to the bridge. Oh, do you have anything at this degree? I see something like a satellite. I'm not sure. They're like, okay, hold on, stand by. Next thing I know, the officer on duty's on top. He's looking through my night vision. I'm like, what's up? And he goes, oh, no, nothing's on the radar. I'm like, oh, let me see. So we're both looking. We're looking at regular binoculars and night vision. Now there's another object. So there's 2 of them slightly in front of the other one, almost like they're going in a formation. Like it was like a perfect angle. It wasn't side by side, just a perfect angle, but they were moving together the whole time.
Just a ball, silver ball, right?
Like it was that's it.
Yeah.
No trail, no exhaust, no sound, nothing. Just silent. So how far away? I can't give you the exact distance, but if a plane was at that distance, I would have heard it.
Oh yeah.
And I say that because when the officer came up, there was about 20 more sailors that came up who told me this, who had 20 plus years experience. They said, oh, bro, you'd be able to hear that. So just so you know, I don't know. I'm a young guy, right? I don't know. I'm 19.
Right. Yeah,
one of my first tours out at sea, but I'm trusting these guys with 20 plus years. However, we're looking at these objects with our regular eyes, night vision. You can feel the anxiety, right? Nobody knows what this is.
Whoa.
Looking at me like, whoa, bro, this is crazy. Like, what is this? I don't know, man. I just happen to see it, right? I thought I'm at the right place, right time, or wrong place, wrong time. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm not thinking UFO at first. I'm thinking satellite, military experiment, whatever. However, if it is a military experiment or a classified project, which it could be, I can't tell you for sure, they put us, so all 72 of us, they put us and the surrounding ships that we called and notified at harm because we could engage. They obviously didn't call on the radio and say, hey, it's a UFO or it's a satellite. We got no communication, nothing on the satellite. We take that as a threat.
Oh, because right.
It's not registering. That's a problem. So we're like, what is that? A Chinese satellite? Is that a Russian thing? Is it a Cuban satellite? And I can tell you this, with interacting with Cuba, I have actually interacted with the Cuban military at times. One night at night, we would just go in and it was pitch black. We saw a boat, no lights, no nothing on. We rolled up to it, and there were guys on the top side, on the outside of the boat. We rolled up, put a flashlight on them, a spotlight. There were 4 soldiers on the top of the Navy ship, I guess, their Navy. They were holding AK-47s. That's how they greeted us. Yeah, you got it. Nothing happened. Nothing happened.
Yeah, but they're like, hey, nice to see you.
Don't greet people like that in the Coast Guard. You know what I mean? We wouldn't greet them like that, but we were like, oh, dude, they could kill us in a second, right? Like, it'd be over. We didn't man our 50 cal. We had a 50 cal machine gun, a 25 cal machine gun. For your audience, those are pretty big guns.
It's a big gun, man. Okay? Take that boat right out. Yeah.
Yeah, they do some damage, but we don't want to intertwine with anyone's military. But hey, man, we take anything as a threat if we don't know what it is, if they're not reacting. We see these lights in the sky for about, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's hard to tell the time. I wasn't looking at my watch. I just knew I had the shift from 12 a.m. midnight till 4 a.m. So it happened there. Wasn't long after midnight. It was somewhere then after midnight. Right. The 2 objects are going. And as I'm looking at them, and as we're all looking at them, they come together. And when they came together, it looked like they were one. Now, I can't tell you if one was in front of the other because I'm looking at a distance, but it appeared that they came together or they were in the same line with each other, right? It looked like one object. And as soon as they did, they just vanished.
Whoa.
Well, no smoke, no sound, no ripple in fabric of space, nothing, just gone.
Whoa.
So we're looking around like, hologram? Dude, this is 1999. You're not even thinking holograms. I don't know. Right. Like, I can't tell you for sure.
Yeah.
The rest of my story in life, it all made sense in the end. But at first, I was just like, that was amazing. But nobody brought me in a room. I didn't have to fill out a statement. The Men in Black didn't show up.
Well, that's God. Good. Thank God. Yeah. You didn't.
That's why I'm talking about this.
Right. Yeah.
I don't, and I want to be clear. I don't have an NDE. I've never signed any of that garbage. I don't work for the DOD. I'm not a secret agent. None of that BS, man. That's not my story. Thank God. I can just tell you what I experienced. So it was just like after guys were like, yeah, I've seen weird things before. I've been out at sea for 20 years, and you're going to see things that are strange sometimes. I said, what do we do? Like, they said most of the time, nothing, unless it directly affects or something we're doing, then the officers will debrief you and everything. I was like, all right. So I figured the next morning, maybe we'll talk about it. Roll call at 0900 or something. 0900 rolled up. I'm all pumped up, right? Because it was amazing. Whatever it was.
Everybody saw it.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And I was not alone. I had 20 dudes that had sea time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not going to see these guys on CNN. There's no Nimitz, fantasy, whatever nonsense is going on out there. Dude, no, this is no black operation that they're pretending to be UFOs. Dude, this is the real thing. Okay? Because if it wasn't, they could have set it up and said like a Nimitz thing, and this would have been perfect. Would have been on TV. But no, that's why I think, wow, this must have been something legit. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's just my experience based on that, and then everything else I've experienced after. So we'll get into that. At the time, though, 19, right, kid, like I consider myself a kid. I don't know anything, right? I'm a young guy, single, no kids, nothing like that. Wake up in the morning. I tell guys on my boat, girls, they were 70 guys and 2 girls. They were officers. They were awesome, though. Awesome, great. In the morning, I tell everyone, this is what happened. We get to roll call. Nothing's mentioned. So they usually debrief you on anything possible, just because you want everyone, God forbid something else happens. Hey,
right, like the boats with the guys with the AKs. Somebody's got to know about that in case you roll up on that the next night.
Yeah, bro.
So the next night you got to figure out that that's happening out there.
Exactly, bro. So
that's the thing.
That happened with the guys at the AK-47. We had a big debrief. We had a big one the next day. We drilled on it because
Yeah.
I remember, I'll never forget it. I'm like, oh my God, dude, they're going to kill. Like, what are they doing? They got machine guns, dude.
You got to be ready.
For what? Wild. So I remember this. So nothing happened. I talked about it. And after, I'm like, all right, I don't know what to make of this.
Right.
It's a cool experience. So I didn't look into it after that. However, it was obviously a big thing. I just thought, wow, this is cool. I told some relatives, I said, oh, I saw something cool. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it. Well, a couple years later, I heard of this guy, Dr. Stephen Greer, who claimed that he had all these military guys that were involved with seeing the phenomena, interacting, covering it up. So I go, wow, meet those witnesses. I don't know about Greer because I don't know him. I'm just hearing about him. However, if he's about 800 ex-military or even a few, I want to meet them because if they're regular dudes, let me see. They're not going to lie. Like, why would they lie to me? They're not out there all over TV, or they're just low key. Like, let me just meet some guys. So I decided, right? I got on the flight department in 2006. Everyone asked me if you've been on 9/11. I wasn't on 9/11. My dad was on. My dad was at Ground Zero when the buildings fell. He's alive, thank God.
Thank God.
Every single guy in every single house around my dad was in ladder 102. Every single house in the area in Bed-Stuy, every guy that was working got killed. Everything that I don't know who was watching over them. I don't know. Well, what happened, bro? Just quickly, in my dad's house, there was an engine and a truck. The engine got there first to Ground Zero, engine 209. They're walking down the block. A guy jumped out of a window out of the World Trade Center and hit a firefighter from another company. This guy's name is Danny Sir. People can look the story. It's a real thing. He hits Danny Sir. Now, my dad's engine company sees this. So they try to revive Danny because he got hit. He's still alive. They're trying to help him. As they're working on him, the first tower falls. They were just about to go in there.
Wow.
Walking into the building and not happening. Like, oh, shit, we got to help Danny, of course. They're working on him. So Danny saved that whole company's life. And then my dad's company got there. Of course, they told him what, and, everyone was okay. It's just, who knows, man? I don't know if there's angels, demons, what's going on down there, bro. All I know is some guys made it, some didn't, man. I don't know.
It's fucking crazy.
But
that
it was
whole
a
thing
reality.
Is fucking crazy.
And this is something, John, that people say, like, oh, how did you know you wanted to be a fireman? When I saw that happen, my first thought was, I wish I was in there. I know that might sound crazy, but I wanted to be a fireman growing up, being around the firehouse, my dad and my uncle and everything. Yeah. But when I saw that, I go, oh I want to help. I wish I was in there to help them. I don't know. That's all I can tell you, man.
Well, yeah. And sometimes you just figure it out, sometimes it just hits you, And
I was driven after that, and I worked out and I trained for, I took the test right after 9/11, and I waited 5.5 years to get on the job.
Wow.
I really wanted that, man. Yeah. So coming forward and bringing all this out, dude, I'm telling you, man, this is gigantic. I'm a third-generation New York City firefighter. My uncle was in ladder 102. My dad was in 102, 30 plus years each. And when I got on coming forward with this stuff, it's out there, bro. So when I first got on, 2006, I didn't say anything. I didn't talk about this much with guys. Then in 2011, I saw that Dr. Greer was having training in California. So my partner at the time was a cop. She was a cop in Long Island, New York. I said, oh, what do you think of this? And she's like, oh, I don't know. I'm open to that. Maybe it's real. Maybe it's not. I said, well, let's go out there. We can meet some maybe other civil service people and whatever. So I go out there.
It's a vacation. You go out to California, hang out, right? Yeah, whatever.
We made a vacation.
Yeah.
2 weeks. We chilled for a week. We went to meet Greer, and there I met James Iandoli.
There you go. That's how you met him, right there.
When people love picking up all people's stories, but this is where it began. So I don't know anything. I meditated a couple times. Before you go there, Greer makes you read all his books. Well, he says read my books if you can, because it'll help you, which it does. Definitely, if you're spending a couple $1,000s to go meet this guy and train for a week, maybe you want to read his books when you have a few months to get ready. So I did.
Yeah, right.
In this stuff, I think it's fascinating. So I read his books. I didn't understand the protocol though because I wasn't doing it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So when I was a firefighter, I was taught when you are a brand new guy, my dad told me, find the guy with the most time, with 30 years, and just learn everything you can from him. You guys, that's who you want to learn from. Just listen. Don't say anything. Just listen. So when I got into this stuff, I figured, well, if this guy Greer is what he claims to be, I want to go to the source, right?
Yeah, listen.
That's how I looked at it. Same with James. When I met James, he's like, yeah, man, like I wanted this guy saying these things, and I know this stuff is real, or it might be. Let's see what's going on. So I get there, and I meet very similar-minded people from all walks of life. It was great.
Yeah.
You had people, a guy that was a Stanford graduate, a medical doctor that went all homeopathic, to, a healer from Malaysia, who I'm still friends with. She's amazing. She wrote a book called Benevolent Contacts with her UFO photos that she takes mostly on her phone. I'm sitting with her, and she goes, Andrew, I feel when they're here. I go, what do you mean? At the time, I didn't know. So I'm like, what do you mean? Now I know. But then I'm like, what? What do you mean you feel it? Come on, bro. Feeling it.
Yeah.
I'm at the time, right? I had 5-6 years on the fire department, so I was a little seasoned, a little bit. So I'm skeptical of everything, right? Oh,
yeah, of course. Yeah. You've seen a lot of shit at that point.
New York City, bro.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, Manhattan, the Bronx.
Just living there. Just living there. Let alone doing your job, right?
Just living in that, but you're dealing with people and people that'll live the way maybe that you would want to live, ideally. And you know what I mean? Like, you see things, bro, stuff, whatever. So I'm just open, though. I'm like, all right, in my head, I'm going to keep that to me. Because I feel when they're here. I go, okay, show me. She goes, there's a craft outside right now. Okay. So I go out with her. She takes her iPhone. I didn't have an iPhone at the time. I think I might have a flip phone. She pulls out her iPhone, bang, she takes a photo. And then she shows me the photo. There's something there. I can't tell you. It was definitely.
But you couldn't see it with your eyes, though. You couldn't see anything with your eyes.
No. So she goes, you won't see it. She goes, I could see it. She goes, I could feel it, but I see it, and I take a photo. They tell me where to point it. So I was like, oh God, don't tell me it's one of these, man. I don't want to get involved with kooks, right? It sounds nuts. It does, but you can't. Come on, bro. Like in my head, though, I'm being nice. I'm just okay.
Just polite. Yeah.
From firehouse kitchen with 12 dudes talking all sorts of things, breaking shops all day, making fun of all of your imperfections nonstop, to people that are into yoga, meditation, spirituality, being
it's a
open,
big switch.
accepting. Dude, it's like night and day.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, whatever, man. So I'm just open. So we meet Greer. We go out in the field. The first night we're out there, nothing. I didn't see it. Not me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my God, I ruined it. We get back to the hotel room. Me and my partner go to sleep. I wake up at like 3 a.m. There's a green flash on the wall. I get up. I wake her up. I say, yo, watch. There's something on the wall. You see that? Yeah, I see it. I go to the wall. It's gone. All right. Looking all over the hotel. We're staying in Borrego Springs, in the desert, in the middle of nowhere. There's no lights on outside.
Right.
Electricity. You're in Borrego Springs, dude. It's nothing going on at night. Nothing. There was one alarm clock, but we unplugged it just for that reason. We don't want to mistake anything and, have all the possibilities of this happening, because we want to know that this isn't nonsense. I want to eliminate all of that. So I'm with, once again, a police officer, a trained observer, and I observe decently too over the years of what I've done and whatever. So we see this light. I go back. I sit down in bed. Boom, it reappears. Then it moves. It ascends up the wall a few feet. So I'm like, all right, I'm not going to move. I don't want to lose whatever this is now. It came back. Well, we're looking. There's no smoke detector. There was nothing that could have fled. Nothing. So we're just sitting there. I said, all right, well, I guess like what Greer said, if you see something or you notice something, just meditate, open your heart and your mind to it, right? Like that lady said, and see what happens. So we did. And we basically just said, all right, well, whatever this is, we're here. You're here. It's okay. You could stay here. And I felt like, though, I could feel, once again, I didn't want to look. It felt like there was something much bigger outside, and this is like a probe that was sent in. That's just what it felt like.
Right. Yeah.
It felt like. But
impression.
This is my first encounter this close. The thing was at the end of my bed, so 6-7 feet away, not far. I mean, I tried to get up in touch again to work, but I didn't. I could say it was that close. It wasn't far away in a reflection, dude. There was nothing else in the room, so it stayed 4 hours until the sun rose. And then when the sun rose, it was just gone. And I was like, we need to talk to the group and Greer. And I remember getting out of the hotel room and I saw James. James, dude. Oh, and I'm telling him everything. I'm like, well, what do you think, man? Is that something, or like, is it just not? I don't know. Just tell Greer. All right. He's like, once again, till you're there, and you're an observer and you see this. I get it. This stuff sounds wacky. I get it.
Wacky. It does. It does.
I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I go to see Greer at like 9 a.m. We have a little breakfast there. We're sitting. He goes, "Oh, did anyone have anything happen in their room last night?" I'm like, "Yep." So I tell him, "What do you think was going on?" And I said what I just told you. I felt like there was something outside, like a bigger craft, and it sent in a probe, and it was kind of just checking us out, like to make sure we weren't going to freak out. Maybe the first night out in the field, maybe I was too nervous. I said, but now that I've seen it that close, I feel fine. Like I'm not.
Right.
I'm not like nervous. And he says, now he probably says this to everyone, right? Because no one likes Greer, of course. But he goes, exactly.
Exactly.
I could tell you from that moment on, 9 a.m. in the room, me and other people in the room were saying, "Oh, I'm seeing a golden ball of light," or "I'm seeing this," in the daytime. So I'm like, okay, I'm seeing some things, but I'm like, I need to get out and feel at night. See better. We went out that night, bro, and from that moment on, Pandora's box opened up. We didn't even get set up yet. We were unfolding our chairs. You set up chairs, you set up a puja table. That's a ceremony anyone can do. That's one way of making C5 contact. We would use that as kind of like a primer. So we start the night. Greer would sit with the puja table. He would speak in Tibetan or whatever he was doing. We'd sit there meditating. And then from that moment on, we saw multicolored, either single, different colored, or multicolored lights in the sky, on the ground. And at times during my meditation, I'm holding hands with people. Okay. I'm looking next to me, my left, my right. And he made it a big deal. No drinking, no drugs. I was a firefighter. No weed. I don't drink nothing. So, and we were sure, like, we were so, like, our diet, everything that we wanted to make sure, hey, if Greer says do this, we want to get the most out of us.
Yeah.
We might as well listen to the guy for the week and see what happens, right? So, and we'll go back to eating hamburgers the next week, bro. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. I'm a firefighter. I'm not gonna go vegan just to, whatever. I don't have a problem with that, but whatever, bro. They're not gonna not come because you're a vegan or not one. They don't care, believe me. So we're sitting in the circle, and at times I look next to me, and I'm telling you, I look at people next to me that I know. I'm looking at them during the meditation we're doing throughout the night. I'm looking to my left, to my right, and it's not the people that I know.
That's bizarre, man.
Now, we have taken photos in the group, okay, in a group circle. There's some photos I have. Of course, I respect my group members. I did this in California, and then I did this in upstate New York, and I've done it all over the world. And a lot of times when these people change or whatever is going on, I don't know what. Pictures, of course, people like, you can't show anyone that, man. Don't show anyone that, because they don't want it publicly known that they're in these C5 groups, blah, blah, blah. It's wacky. They have professional jobs. I get it. They're not. However, there's some weird things going on next to me. Like I said, people don't look like who they are.
What do they look like, though? Is it like scary? Is it like weird?
I would see them changing. I would see them changing color from going to, like, regular human flesh and everything to, it looks bluish or purplish. Eyes look bigger. The hands look bigger. Now, I've heard, once again, this is so tough to prove, but people that know the phenomena and our contactees will understand this. When you're meditating and when you go into deep states of meditation, John Mack talked about this too. This is stuff that's out there. This is true. I can vouch for this. When you meditate and you go very deep, sometimes you can encounter altered states of consciousness. What you want. That's the easiest way to describe this. But basically, when you meditate, basically weird stuff happens. I'll leave it at that. So people next to you that like your partner, is not her. So I'm like, looking at her like, what's going on, dude? This is my first time seeing this. And I've heard the stories, heard people saying this. Till I saw it, I was like, yeah, I'm going to keep that one to myself for now. I don't know about sharing that publicly. Now I can. I don't care now. But back then, 2011, bro, I'm not telling anybody this. What are you, crazy? No way, dude. I'm just sitting there like, let me just take it in. The Buddha said, attachment to nothing. So don't get too attached. Just be present, enjoy it. But every night, every day, we were having these encounters. And one night, Greer said, we're going to have an A-list Hollywood actor here. Don't tell anyone. Well, I'm telling everyone right now. I don't care. Too bad. Whatever, I don't care. Thomas Jane, the guy that was in Hung on HBO, The Punisher, he came out. He spent a couple of days with us. He did the voiceover in the film Sirius for Dr. Greer. So
Oh
people
yeah.
don't
Okay.
know who he
Okay.
is.
Okay.
That's
There
the
he is.
guy. He's a
Okay.
famous
Gotcha.
actor. He
Yeah.
married Patricia Arquette at some point. Well, he came out and he didn't speak to anybody, bro. He's very low key. So maybe he didn't want to be bothered, and everyone there was cool. No one's going to come up and say, hey, it wasn't
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
man. Everyone
Yeah.
respected his space. And Greer said too, hey, man, just let him be and he'll warm up to us. And so, like, he's there for like a day, and like, it's like, hey, Andrew, he wants to talk to you. I was like, yeah, sure, no problem, bro. The guy's a legend. Are you kidding me? Watch that the Firehouse, huh? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
He's a legend. I don't know if you know the show, but he basically is a male pimp or whatever, like a jiggle.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
I've.
wild. It's, it's a guy show from the 90s,
Yeah.
2000s, whatever. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm like, of course he's a legend, man, no problem. So first thing I said is, hey man, great job with the show, man. We love that in the Files, classic. He's like, oh, thanks, man. He goes, but I want to talk to you about this. He said, oh, yeah, sure. He was curious about the green light story.
Yeah. Yeah.
I described to him what happened, and he had an experience, I believe, in the back wherever he lived, or he had a summer house somewhere in his back residence. I don't know where, and I wouldn't say where if I knew anyway, but wherever, some residence in the back, and an object landed similar to the Rendlesham incident. A
Wow.
mix of that, a mix of what I experienced. I didn't see a crack. Like I said, I didn't see the physical object touch the hard, solid I have at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
He said the object came and it was spitting out hieroglyphic images and messages to him. And he didn't know what to make of it. So a friend or whoever connected him to Greer and said, hey, man. And Greer said, well, we're going to be in Cali. Why don't you come hang with us? And he did. And he was awesome.
That's cool. That's cool.
And it also put into perspective, John, it's not just nut jobs at home watching Star Wars or X.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, bro? Dude,
it's everybody. Everybody.
Man.
Everybody.
Who, yeah, he supported Greer, but I don't think he's going to go on a TV show saying his story, but it's very important. That's up to him. That's him if he wants to get into that and whatever. I get it. You open that up, you say it. Now you went from being on regular TV to, the guy with that weird story. I know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. People still, the stigma's still there. Yes, the stigma's still there. I mean, it's getting better.
It's there.
It's getting better.
And so that happened. I spent the week. And people say, oh, what about Greer and this and that? Well, one of his security guards, his mother got sick. He had to leave. So Greer asked me and my partner, because she was a cop, hey, could you do security first? If someone gets sick. I said, yeah, of course. I know first aid.
Yeah.
No problem, man. I would do that anyway. If someone got hurt, I would.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. You have to as a first responder. You're a police officer anyway, but I would help anyone. I don't care who it was. But of course, whatever you need, Steve, no problem. So we got to know him a little bit better, and so in security, they opened up to us. Mm-hmm. So he goes, come in the back room, the security guard, he opens a black box, there's a loaded 9mm. What the is that for? And he goes, well, just in case. I said, just in case of what? Like, what's going on here, bro? Are we going and meditating? Or Men in Black coming, bro? Like, and you want me to shoot them?
Both.
You want me to shoot them? No. So
I'm not touching that. My fingerprints are not going on any of that.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Like, even just like, oh my God, like you just touch the thing. That's it. You're done. So we just looked at it. So, okay, it's there if we need it, but I ain't touch that thing, bro. I'll restrain someone, but I ain't touching a gun, dude. I'm running, before I'm grabbing a gun, dude. That's not mine. So whatever. But like I would say, I don't know if Greer shows that to everyone that's there. So I would say that we had a little bit of a different relationship that wise. And even after I met him, he spoke about me at several conferences. If you watch his live stuff, there's conferences out there where he says, all right, train this firefighter from New York. It's me, bro. There's nobody else. If there was another firefighter doing this, I would know. There's not. Trust me. I'm the guy.
Yeah.
He never said my name. He just says, firefighter, and police officer. That's us, man. And which is lovely, man. I told her, I said, you could mention me, man. I don't have a problem with that. Don't say my name. That was at the moment because I'm like, I still have a career ahead of me and I'm young and I don't want it to get out. But that moment came, John, where eventually the cat was out of the bag.
Yep. And
once that happens, there's no putting that genie back in the bottle.
Nope, not at all. Nope. But then you just got to, but then everything gets better after that point, in my experience anyway. And
once you're open and people know your cards, the ones that love you and are there for you, they're still going to be there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, hey man, that's cool. Don't mention my name, but I love you. No problem. I don't do that. No problem. But people too that weren't there at first that, People have died in their lives. Now they're coming to me for readings. We'll get into that in a minute. So, so a lot of things have evolved at the moment, though, right? So I go to see Greer. All of this happens. I come back, and my grandmother, Joan, she passed away right around this time. And like I said, I forgot that talk we had during Unsolved Mysteries. And I said, hey, come through when you die. I forgot about it. Like, honestly, it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm waiting now every minute for I wasn't a freak like that, bro. Like I wasn't, I never watched X-Files until a few years ago.
Yeah. Right.
But when I did, I go, yep. That's what I got to like. That's it, bro. But I'm glad I didn't watch it first because I never watched Star Trek, none of that, because I didn't want to be biased.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I felt that if I watched those movies and that stuff, that I would make believe, oh, I'm communicating with. No, I never got into that on purpose. And I'm glad I didn't. I can watch it now and go, yeah, that's real. No, that's nonsense. Nah, man. I don't know. It's just the way that was my mentality, whatever. So me and my grandma made this pact when she was alive. And I said, okay, if she comes through to me, though, I'll tell everyone. Now, I just thought I would tell family, friends. I didn't think I would be in the newspaper and telling the world. However, life has different plans, right? So we're at where we're at, right? My grandmother passes away. I go into a restaurant in town where I grew up in Floral Park, Long Island. This dude with a leather jacket, long hair, earrings comes up to me and Mom. We're having dinner. And he says, someone in your family just died. They had cancer on the outside of their face. Yeah, that's my grandmother. In my head, I'm like, yeah. And he goes, which one of you was born on Easter Sunday? My mom was born on Easter Sunday in 1954. So this guy either was told that, because that's a good one. You know, that's a good one to nail right off the bat.
Yeah.
I was skeptical. I waited a year. I wasn't online. I wasn't on Facebook back in 2010, 2011. No. I tracked the guy down after a year because my house got washed away in a bad hurricane, Hurricane Sandy.
Oh, yeah.
I tracked this guy down. I was going through a tough time in life, and I went to see him. He blew me away in the reading. I recorded it. He told me all different things. It was nothing from the first time I saw him, met him in that restaurant. His name is Robert Hansen. He's in Merrick, Long Island. And he let me record it, which is another great sign. If anyone goes to a psychic, they should let you record it. Audio, definitely. There's no reason not to. You can record the audio, man. That's for your personal, you're not going and sharing it. And that's for your personal thing, man. That's a sacred thing. And I do that too with people. I believe in that. So he let me record it. And at the end, and I have this all on audio. And he says at the end, you have the gift. You know that. I was like, and I didn't tell him anything. Nothing about the pack with Graham. Nothing, bro. I'm sitting there as a firefighter, skeptical, but healed, because I felt good that my grandmother came through and other relatives. I felt healed personally. We had no priest, no therapist, no psychologist, nobody, no firefighter, nobody could have done for me what that guy did for me in an hour. That's all I know, bro. That for me was like done, sealed. And he said to me, you have this. So I said, okay, I don't know about that, but what do I do with this? Okay, that's great. He probably tells everyone this, right? What's the catch? Well, how much I have to pay you, right? Whatever.
No, every week for $59.95.
Yeah, of course. $1,000 a week, all that bullshit. So I've heard all of it, man. And I'm like, okay. So I went back on the weekend to his training class, which is about 20 to 30 people. The first class is nothing. He goes, if you come, you like it, stay. He goes, if you don't want it, no problem. No strings attached, no contract. He goes, you come in after that. If you want, you put $20 on the desk. It's an honor system. He goes, if you don't have it, don't worry about it. Like, dude, that sounds too good to be true. That sounds like a guy in the firehouse. Like, wow, that's how we are at work. Like, you trust the guys you work with.
Yeah.
Leave money on the table, not going to take it. That's how firehouse should be. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I go there. We sit and meditate for about 5 minutes. He puts me knee to knee. This is way before COVID, way before all that. Get close to people. And I'm all paranoid and wearing a mask. I'm sitting knee to knee with the lady. And he goes, okay, just say what you're seeing. And dude, all of a sudden, I'm sitting knee to knee with this lady, and I could feel a little tingle on my spine, like a slight short, not bad, just a little tingle, like excited. And all of a sudden, I started to see, like right around her, like almost like a U, like right around her, like an upside down U. I could see these images in black and white. So I'm like, I see a car going down the block backwards. It's hitting into a tree, and the person loses their left leg, but they're alive still. They're walking out, like they're getting out of the accident, still alive. She goes, yeah, that's my Uncle Vinny. All right.
Okay.
I see that though. What is that?
Yeah.
So I've learned through meditation, when I meditate and focusing, just like focusing on connecting with UFOs or focusing on spirits, connecting with your loved ones or someone else's loved ones. If you do that, this is what has happened from that moment on till today. Literally, every time I sit with people, and of course, I'm not a dog. I don't do it on command. If I'm walking down the street, I've had this happen. People run into me, go, "Oh, read me right now." I said, "Dude, you're an electrician. Go wire my house right now." Hey, dude, I'm not a freaking dog. You know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
People think because you have a gift. I don't even like calling it a gift, dude. It's not like that. It just happened, bro. Whatever. It just happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever it is. I was a firefighter. Never planned it to just happen. I'm following through on my end. Whatever. And people say it's a gift. That's why you shouldn't charge. Dude, I don't care what people listen. If you want to make a living and do whatever you want, man. At the time, when I was a firefighter, I was in the firehouse making 120 grand a year. I didn't need anything. So I was like, great. On my days off, I'll just read people. So for 11 and a half years, I would work in the firehouse. And then my days off, I would just read whoever, friends, relatives, someone's spouse, someone's cousin, preferably someone I didn't know anyway, no tie, nothing. That way I could sit with them. And then they could go, "Oh my God, dude, how did you know about my family in Mexico or Germany?" I don't. I'm not online at the time. I'm not online. I used to joke with people and say, yeah, on my days off, I check the obituaries and I hang outside a funeral home. I'm joking, you know?
I know.
People will go, "Really?" I go, "No, dude, I'm kidding. It's a joke, dude. I don't do that." But when I moved to Australia, I got a job as an embalmer in a funeral home, so I couldn't say that.
Yeah. I saw your post.
Really get into that. So my days off, and people used to joke, "Oh, dude, you're the prophet, man. You just do it." I said, "Dude, it's not religion. I'm not into. I'm just into. I don't know what this is. All I know is I my days off. I'm around people. I'm doing this, and at night I'm communicating with UFOs, and then I'm in a UFO circle, and someone goes, 'Hey, bro, could you read me?' I go, 'All right, yeah, let me try.' Right? So I did. And they were like, 'Wow!' And then people were like, 'Hey, if you pick up anything, tell us.' So one night I was like, 'Oh, who is literally an aunt who just had their sister had a baby like yesterday or today?' And a girl raised their hand. In New York in James's group, she raised her hand. I go, 'Who's the new aunt?' Congratulate. And this lady, I don't know. She raised her hand. I don't never met this lady. So how could I know that? I don't. And I'm not. There's nothing in. There's no money. We're just sitting, dude. People
just comes
assume.
to you. It just comes to you.
And people assume, right? Once you get paid for an interview or a show, or you charge someone or what any sort of money's about. Oh, it's a scam.
Yeah, right.
But yet, if you're a tradesperson, no, that's 100% real, dude. They're not. I know plenty of carpenters that rip people off, bro. Okay,
all day, plumbers, everybody.
Dude,
mechanics.
Make it worse. Yeah, man. So for me, though, it was ingrained in me at first when I did this with the psychic that trained me that the UFO stuff. He said, I talked to him about it. And he goes, "Just be careful. Yes, UFOs are real.
He warned you. Yes, he warned you about it.
Well, he said, yes, it's real. Yes, there's other civilizations. Yes, they're communicating with some people." He goes, "But me personally, it's not affecting my life. So don't go there because most of it is nonsense and disinfo. Most of it."
Right. Yeah.
I go, okay. And I go, I agree. There is a lot of that out there. However, fast forwarding now, it just wasn't like this, bro. So I'm talking to this guy 13 years ago. I get it. Back then, they were like, "Dude, don't mention this, man. You want to be a credible psychic? Don't go with that UFO stuff, dude. They're going to put a tinfoil on your hat," which they're right. Like, I get it. I
didn't want to talk to him because like when I grew up, like my dad believed the whole thing, but saw him when he was a kid, when we got older, he saw him. I just thought it was real. Everybody else thought it was crazy, but literally we saw people like people would disappear. Like people are like you get talked to. The Men in Black were a real thing. Like the van would show up. You know what I mean? Like they would take your VHS tape. They, back in the day, be like, "What tape? We're gonna take that. We're gonna take all your shit, and you're gonna shut up." Yeah. Like that shit happens. It still happens, but not to the extent that it did then. Like, but that's why I didn't say shit for the longest time because I didn't want to end up in the back of the van, disappeared. Like. They just didn't want to be that guy, and it's still to this day. If you assholes are watching, come talk to me. Don't put me in the van. Just come tell me to shut the fuck up, and I will. But I don't need the van antics because that just still happens, man. It is. It's terrible.
I agree, man. When I met Greer, and I've never shared this before, but when I met Greer, he said, "We have an infiltrator in the group."
Yeah.
I say who, I know who, and I know who they are.
Yeah.
Still know them. It's not James, of course. And I go,
shit, there goes that theory. Well, then we could just cancel this interview.
Well, what do you mean?
I'm just fucking with you. I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah. No, it's all good, man. Listen, you got to laugh at the stuff, man.
Yeah, you have to. That's the only thing you can do.
Serious, dude.
You do. You gotta laugh. Dude. You gotta have fun.
And we'll get into that. People's pantyhose get way too tight, and they block you, and then you can't even talk. Whatever. Anyway,
yeah, we need to talk about that. We got to talk about that
stuff. Yep. So I'm like, what do you mean is an infiltrator? They go, well, someone in here is connected to someone who has a connection to, if you want to call it, the Illuminati, to very wealthy people. I was like, okay, but how do you know that we're being scared? Like, I'm with a police officer who's like, okay, you got to tell me what's going on because we have threats. So they go, every day there's been a black van. They gave us the plate number that's been driving by every few hours. So when we were sitting in circles in the group during the day, my partner would sit here looking out the window. I would sit on the other side. We did see the black van with the plate he was saying when we were there that week, but we couldn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
We didn't tell the group. Right, oh, they watched. Nothing happened.
Right.
Basically, they're coming here because they want to get info and they're passing it back to their whoever. But he goes, I don't care. He goes, I don't care. They could be here. They could watch. I'm not hiding anything. So that's how I am with what I do. Nothing to hide. I don't care, bro. I make contact. I do communicate with spirits. I don't care. People don't believe. As long as if you're open-minded, cool. You're skeptical, cool. Come to me. I've had people come to me. We've made contact together for years now. So that's how you prove it. Boom, you see it. To fight online, to argue, and to never go out and make contact and just point your finger. I don't know, man. I'm a guy that's in the mud. Like, I know what it's like being on that side, right? You're in the mud battling. You don't want to come forward. And I started to talk online, right? Around 2016, 17, started to talk with people. Prior to then, no photos, no video, nothing from me. I didn't want anything. And then I didn't ask for this, but, guys in the firehouse found out, which is great. I started reading them, helping them, making contact with them, having experiences at work, after work. And then the New York Post.
Boom, you dropped the article. I heard that. Yeah, it was just.
Yeah, they just, send me a DM. Hey, we're dropping an article tomorrow about you. I was like,
yeah.
Sitting on the beach with my girlfriend at the time from Australia, my wife now, chilling. And I get a DM, which I'm glad I got it, because if you don't know somebody, you can not even get it, or it gets the junk thing. So I'm like, who the heck is this? I never heard of this person. I'm with the New York Post. I'm like, what? Nah, dude, I don't even know who this is. So I looked up articles this person wrote previously. They were all hit pieces on cops and firefighters or the mayor.
Fantastic.
So I said, okay, show me what you're writing, because she wants to comment. I said, well, I need to see what you're writing, because how can I comment?
Yeah.
There's so much to my story. You researched me probably for weeks or probably months, got it approved by the Post to be in the page 6 section on Sunday. So it went through a few channels.
And you've never spoken to her once before this? Nothing. They didn't even know who she was, right?
I said, how'd you hear of me? She refused to tell me. That's what worried me. I go, well, are you friends with my ex, like my best friend, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You're not going to tell me. Well, if you're doing the right thing and you're an honest journalist, you can tell me, or at least show me what you wrote.
Right. Yeah. Show me what you wrote.
And then I'll go, okay, no, that's not accurate. Before they gets printed, let's change this. So I said, I called an attorney. I called Ray Hernandez from the Free Organization, Mary Rodwell. So he's an attorney. I called Ray. Hey, Ray. Like, I don't even know what to do, man. I have a job, dude, like a serious job, and I can't end up on the front cover of the paper saying I turned blue. Like, I need to explain this to people first. So he's like, no comment, don't give anything until I don't run it. So I did, and I had to call the fire department press desk. They were great. They said, no problem, we got you back, don't worry about it. I told them I was honest, and they responded to me. I have the emails. They go, dude, you're not saying anything wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. Why does this girl want to run an article about you? You're telling her don't run it. And if you are, let's see it. She's not showing us. Something ain't right. So they waited like weeks, then ran it. So it probably got edited, probably, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. It is what it is. If in there it's stated I said this, well, then I said it. If I said something, I back it up. When you communicate with UFOs, ETs, weird stuff or high strangeness happens. So people are saying, oh, he said he communicates with Abraham Lincoln. No, dude, this is what I'm saying. I am related to, this is a fact. I am related to John Tyler, 10th president of the United States.
There you go.
On my mom's side. When I have contacts or I'm communicating with spirits, at times I will see faces or outlines or what looks like the face of a president.
Right.
So no, it looks like Abraham Lincoln's face. I'm not saying it's Abraham Lincoln. He's dead, bro. He's dead. Dead. And I'm not communicating with his spirit. Never. I never have. So let's get that straight. But besides that, whatever, dude. She printed it. You write whatever you want. It is what it is. It got out there. So next thing I know, I'm like, well, what do? I talked to Mary Rodwell in Australia, and she goes, you need to find a geneticist. I said, why? She goes, I think there's something different with your DNA, which is why you're having so much contact, basically. Said, okay.
DNA.
Here we go.
You can't say that name. You guys you can't say it. I'm sorry. I'll just get excited when I just can't, because nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. It's just, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just got real excited.
No. So here I am. I'll give you a scene. I'm a single firefighter, or I had a girlfriend eventually, but I was a single firefighter. And then I had a girlfriend I met in Australia. We'll get into that. Sitting on the beach, talking to Mary Rodwell, go find a geneticist. I don't know any. So
you're like, what? You're like, okay, well, like, I don't know any. I don't know any. I
don't.
I gotta. Who knows a geneticist? Like you're a firefighter.
Yeah, I'm a firefighter, dude.
Yeah, I don't know geneticists. I just have my Rolodex.
Well, Mary, who can I go to? And she gave me one reference. The guy was going to charge me like $50,000. He lived in Chicago. It was some crazy. I'm like, this is insane. I just want to get some advice, bro. I took a shot through social media. I knew I'd heard of Dr. Garry Nolan through Diana Pasolka. Everyone knows her, right?
Yeah,
I know Diana.
Yeah. There you go.
Diana, some of my footage back in the day. She had said to me that this is what she said to me. I have a screenshot of this. No, I'm not sharing it with anyone. You take my word, I don't care. She said to me, wow, basically, Andrew, this is great footage. This is, the best I've ever seen, blah, something to that effect. Yeah. I will let Garry know. Well, she did, because I have an email from Garry Nolan to Kit Green and Valet and the whole nine, basically saying, I heard of this guy, Andrew, from Diana. So that is validated, dude. I have the emails. I could show you offline. I'm not sharing it with anyone. But it is.
I trust
like
you.
Anything.
Why would you make that up? Why the fuck would
I don't care.
Yeah, right.
And you don't and look at this, but you don't ever hear Garry Nolan going and saying, oh, I don't know Andrew's lying about all this. No, he knows. No. So there's a trail, but out of respect to him, I would never share my emails back and forth, because this is a sensitive thing, bro. I'm going to get into why. I communicate with him. I reach out to Garry Nolan because I take a shot. I don't know anyone. Hey, I'm sending him photos, videos. I'm like, I don't know what to make of this. I don't know why this is happening. And he's like, all right, let's Skype. Let's talk. And he's like, no, you're not crazy. I've heard this before.
There you go.
He goes, how did you make the video you made and the videos you've done? Like, how did you fake it? Or I said, I didn't. He goes, no, I know. But that's what I'm saying. Like, how did that happen? I said, you could get it tested wherever you want, dude. I did not fabricate anything, bro. Dude, why would I come out, share this, all this still, if it was nonsense, dude? Look what I have to lose. No idea, dude. I had a $120,000 job a year. I'm set, dude. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to come out. I can wait till I retire and come out.
Yeah.
I'm set. But no, dude, the reason I came out earlier was because other people I knew started coming forward, and I felt it's time, bro. If I don't do this now, and I don't regret any of it.
That's good.
When it was going down at first, I reached out to Garry. He was great. He said, Andrew, has anyone in your family experienced this? I said, yeah. I've had several sightings with my brother. Hundreds. Yeah. And then you ask, hey, Mom, I met this doctor from Stanford. He's incredible. You can look him up. He wanted to know if you had any sightings. And then she tells me, yeah. And then in the 1970s, I saw a black disc. I'm like, whoa, what?
Like the first time you ever heard of it too, right?
Tell me. And then she said, oh, I've had a bunch of experiences. I'm like, wow. Here I am thinking I'm crazy, and it's just me, or there's another explanation. Then I asked my mom, and she goes, yeah, me and your aunt are sitting on the steps of your grandmother's house in 1973 or 4, hanging out, broad daylight, and a black disc glides over the house. So we look up, me, your aunt, and your Uncle Ronnie. We look up, we jump in Ronnie's Jeep, we drive, and we follow it. They're following it down the train tracks in Flora Park to Flora Park Belrose Grammar School. There's an electrical like system, like a substation there
Yeah.
next to the train tracks. My mom said they see it the whole time. And somebody in the meantime must have called the police because there were no cell phones at the time. But they're following it down the train tracks. They're looking at it. They saw it. They all saw it. My mom said it was silent, no noise, no nothing. It was just there. It was just there, right above. It just glided, and it's just there above the electrical power station. They're looking at it, and then she said, "Boom, gone," and shot off.
Wow.
So this is not someone like people know. My mom has not come forward. She's not going to give any testimony. None of it. She says, "Be careful," because people out there, you know how it is. Talk about this stuff. But yes, it's in my family. I relayed this to Garry and other stuff. And he said, okay, I'd like to look at your DNA. I think that there's a link in your family. I go, yeah. I go, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, because talking to my mom, I find out other stories about relatives. I'm like, oh my God, this has been going on before, like way before me. It's just no one came forward because
nobody talks about it. Yeah, the stigma. Yeah.
Why would you? Why would you come forward in the 70s or 80s? That you would forget it.
Nope, you're just crazy Uncle Betty who's just seeing you, right? That's all it is. Yeah.
So Garry Nolan, he said to me, he goes, "Is it okay if I share your experiences with Kit Green, Colm Kelleher, Jacques Vallée, Hal Puthoff?" I said, "Yeah. I just want answers.
Right.
I'm just trying to get some answers and find out what does this all mean. I don't know what the DNA means. I don't know science, bro. I'm trusting." This guy is going to do the right thing, or at least give me some feedback.
Yeah.
I didn't have an army of support in the world through this.
Right.
I mean?
Oh yeah.
You know what that's like.
You were alone. Yeah, you're alone. You feel alone at that point. You just want
I'm
some
a one-man
answers.
army.
Right.
Yeah. And now it's all out, bro. Like it's in the paper. Like everyone knows it. There's no secrets, bro. Like it's out, dude. So, and I sent the article to Garry, and he goes, "Oh, it's actually not that bad. It's fair." I go, "Yeah, I'm okay with it. It's fair. Well, it could be a lot worse." Absolutely, man. So whatever it is, what it is, make out of it what you want to make out of it. So Kit Green at the time was traveling through the United States, going to meet other experiencers. And my understanding, okay, once again, I don't have an email to share. Even if I did, I would show any nut jobs out there this. But my understanding was Garry gets DNA. Kit Green focuses on brain scans.
Okay.
So he wants to look at the brains of contactees, preferably ones that have had health effects or defects. I don't have that.
Okay, gotcha.
Apply for that. I did not have, so people know too, I did not have any damage from that sighting in the military. I did not have any health effects from my contact. And I only know what I know. Every year I went to my fire department medical, and I got a couple extra ones. So I don't know what to tell you, but I've never had any health effects like that. I've just had more contact after. So I never had anything negative or any weird stuff. Like, it's a shame what I heard out there, but we'll get into that. Other people have gone through. So, and then they need a funder because the government's not paying for this. So they had a program, not at Stanford. I want to be clear. This has nothing to do with Stanford University. It's no conspiracy. So they need a money person. The money person paying for this. Bigelow.
There you go.
It's that simple. We don't need to conspire. It's that. Boom, done. So Bigelow was the money guy. He basically had the money to do a study. Now, if you ask John Burroughs or other experiencers that have gone through this, I've heard, wow, Garry Nolan asked for my DNA too, or Kit Green did, and no one will tell us what they're doing with our DNA. So in conversating with Garry Nolan, he had said to me that what he was working on, or what he would like to make eventually what he'd want to make, it wasn't made at that moment as far as I knew, but he wanted to make a drug or something that someone could take that was either having negative or positive contact experiences. So if you're frightened by it or there's demons coming, you could take this pill and it goes away.
Right.
If you don't have any and you take it, now you can have contact. Of course, I'm not an idiot. I know how things work. If you give it to a soldier, somebody in the field, now, dude, are you creating like a super soldier? That's just my thought. He didn't say that to me, but that's what I'm thinking because I'm not an idiot, dude. I've been around the military. Why wouldn't you?
Because that's where you could sell a bunch of that that you could make trillions of dollars selling that to the government.
Dude, absolutely.
They buy $5,000 toilets. How much are they going to spend for that?
Of course. Of course.
That's billions of dollars, trillions of dollars, trillions.
I have no problem with making the military better and more efficient. And I'm all for it, bro. I want to
I'm
be
all
safe.
for it too. Yeah, me too.
I don't want to
I'm
be
not,
harmed. I have no problem with that.
not at
So
all.
I had a lot of conversations about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And that was one of them that that was like 2018, I guess, when I met him. So 5 years ago.
Yeah.
At this moment, what do they have? What have they designed? I don't know. All I can tell you is from that moment. So the first interview I did, I don't know, maybe 2 months after I met him, or maybe the end of the month I met him, I talked
Yeah.
about that, and I've never stopped.
Yeah.
I've always relayed the same story. This is what happened. This is what he expressed to me. And hey, whatever, do whatever you want. I'm not the doctor. I'm not the scientist. And you get grants from the Department of Defense or whoever and all this money. Great. Do whatever you got to do. I don't know. I have no idea. But they will not relate to anyone what they're doing with people's DNA. That's the bottom line. So what are they doing with it? Right? I can't tell you for sure. I'm not there with them. I'm not a scientist. All I know is what I heard. This is what, we're going to make this. All right, whatever, bro. And it's the big pharma. They're doing things, whatever, dude. That's their business. They can say what they want. I have no reason to lie about anything that I've heard or been through. And there's a guy named Tom DeLong that kind of shared what we talked about, what I talked about with James. I'm just going to leave that right there, bro. Take back anything I've said. You know, what I said is what I've experienced back then. No, I don't have a recording of it to share with everyone, and I wouldn't do that anyway. I'm not going to drop email. I don't do that with people. I trust that when Garry opened up to me and I opened up to him and we shared personal things about family, and I'm not talking about that stuff, bro. I'm not going to go there. That's inappropriate. I would not share messages. Nah, dude, this stuff is so weird and it affects you. And he helped me out when this was going on for me to relay to my family. Hey, I met a doctor and he said to me, like, no, this is what we think is going on. We don't know everything. We don't have all the answers, but this is the idea we have. And it was helpful for my relatives to say, okay, well, Andrew's not crazy, or we're not crazy. There's something going on here that we don't understand.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's just perfect. And that's what you want. I mean, that's amazing. And thank you for relaying that again. You know, I mean, to me, being secondary to the whole thing, because I had, you know, obviously I've been researching this basically my whole life. When I was like I said, when I was a kid, my dad, I just grew up thinking UFOs was real, and then I saw the stigma. And then when, you know, DeLong came out, I was like, this is it. This is it. This is my, you know, and then like, you know, I met James and it was like, all right, cool. I'm going to talk about it. And so I've been doing research forever. And when I saw all that, because I put it together with Pasalco's book, and, you know, obviously we know who he was, and, you know, he's saying it in there. And then Burroughs came out, said the same thing. You know, Burroughs came out and said that Garry Nolan came down with Callum Kelleher and Kit Green. They all tried to get his DNA, and he didn't want to do it because he thought that they weren't going to give him any money. Or maybe I might have that but there's a clip of him talking about it. There's a bunch of people talking about it. You're talking, everybody's talking about it. And I'm like, well, this is it. And I started putting together, that's what they're doing. He wants to turn on and off the phenomenon. He wants to figure out how that works in humans, called apotatum, whatever, right? Whatever. Kit Green's doing the brain thing, like you're talking about, and Nolan's doing the drug thing, right? With the DNA. So they're going to figure it out. They're going to do something with it. And like you said, probably sell it to the government. So I got excited, posted it, got fucking attacked, right? Every attack dog on Twitter that you can send at me came to me. I had people DMing me, calling me, telling me to take the post down. Right. Take it down. Take it down. I'm like, I didn't fucking say it. Andrew said it. It wasn't me going, Garry Nolan's messing with people's DNA. I said, Andrew said it. I just posted it. Like, that was it. People were on, like, calling me, going to take it down, take it down.
Oh,
Garry reached out, was like, take it down. And I'm taking my kid to school. Like, I'm like a DM. He's like, well, take it down, John. And I'm like, I'm taking my kid to school. Like, I don't look at this. And the time, it takes me like 20 minutes to take my kid to school and back. And, you know, like, I didn't answer him in 20 minutes. So he's like, you know, you got your own morals or whatever, you know, you're blocked. Dude, I couldn't have taken it down in the 20 minutes of the time, you know. And then DeLong reposted it, right? And I'm like, well, what do you want me to do with that? You know what I mean? Like, the dude, like, that's another reason why I came out, because DeLong did it, you know. And other people give him a lot of shit that, you know, whatever, but he's done amazing work to get the public to realize where we're at right now. And I appreciate all of his shit. You know what I mean? It's like, so, you know, I was excited when you reposted it, because I was like, that's great, man. That's fucking rad. It kind of validates it in my mind. I mean, and plus the people that I interacted with, that I've talked to for years on Twitter, they just showed all these colors. Like, I just started going, oh,
that's it.
I started getting this red string. I got the red string out and was like, whoops, 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 whoops. Look at these guardians. What the fuck who do they think they are? You know, like, these gatekeepers just came out and just started attacking me, like people that I thought were friends. And I was like, this is bullshit.
It's
hitting
crazy.
nerves. I'm hitting nerves
It's
here
sick.
for some reason. And I didn't even say it. You said it.
And what's great, it's great. No one will look at any else of my story, what I'm saying. They're going to take that one line, say, oh, no, that's nonsense. Forget about DeLonger posting it and leaving it up.
Yeah, he's still up right now. You go look at it right now.
I know he got DM'd. I know some people that know him, and I know people reach out to him, and dude, all the nonsense that he gets in fake garbage over this phenomena, and he doesn't repost it, but he reposted that. Let that sink in. And he doesn't, Gary's not in TTSA, whatever. They're not in it anymore. So at some point there was some sort of whatever. I don't know whatever.
I don't know either.
However, him reposting that, and listen, if somebody says something that isn't true, I don't care. I'm not going to message you to take it up. Do whatever you want. You'll look like a fool if it's not true, right? So that to me should be very telling if someone says, you better take that down. It's about, I could care less. You write whatever you want about me. People that know me, they know I wouldn't be involved with something if it was not true. However, there's enough people out there in this world, even the people that message you, that know there's a seed of truth in there, even though they're saying it's not. They think, whoa, well, what if? Oh, that could be. But because the gatekeeper says, no, that's not true, they got to back him up, and they'll die with him in the ground. They'll be right by, no matter what he says, what they say.
Exactly.
That's sick, dude. Think for yourself.
Please.
That's all I'm saying. What if? Now, does that make, like what I said and how I said it, forget about what anyone said. That make sense?
Yeah.
Thank you. Does that make sense? That they could be looking at someone that's having a high volume of contact saying, all right, let's look at their DNA. What's going on? What's different? What Gary said to me was, we feel that you and others, you have a brain in your brain called the antenna. That, what do they call it now, that medical term? I didn't know that in 2018 when I met him.
The caudate patenum or whatever.
He didn't tell me that thing. He kept it real simple with me, bro. He said, the brain in your brain, we call it AKA the antenna. He goes, somehow people turn it on and off through NDE, OBE, contact. We don't know how. But Kit Green is looking at people's brains to see how. They're sitting and then they meditate. They go in that state. Boom, they open up. Now, Kit Green said he was going to meet up with me in New York. I moved to Australia. That didn't happen. No, I haven't been in a brain scan. I doubt I'll be in one now because they probably love me more than ever. But I don't care. I don't need.
You're number one on the list. You might not come out of that brain scan if you
I could care less. I don't care what you do with my DNA, but tell me.
Yeah. At least that's so they took your DNA, right? They have it.
I did not give it to them.
Oh, okay. I thought you did, but they have others.
They don't have it.
Yeah. They probably have it.
But I didn't knowingly give it.
Right.
That, okay.
Yeah.
Now it's very easy to get DNA. And if there are contactees out there that think, oh, I didn't give it to them, bro, they'll get it if they want it.
Yeah, every time you spit out that piece of gum, they go right through your trash can, your sewer pipe, whatever. You
have people that are admitting, I'm getting grants or I'm involved with people in the sea. They're admitting it, dude. They're admitting it to us. They're saying it. So what are they not talking about? Oh, I can't talk about that. I have an NDA. Well, I don't have an NDA. That's why I'm talking about this. And you know what? I can go to bed at night with a clear conscience because I have nothing to hide, dude. What are you hiding? What are they hiding from us? So stop with the nonsense. Just tell us what's going on. Tell us what you're doing with people's DNA, dude. That's wrong. I don't know. I think that's wrong. You should tell the person you took their DNA from what you're going to do with it.
Well, especially if you make $1 trillion. Can you imagine if you handed over your DNA and then somehow they come out with, oh, we've marketed this fucking drug that's making us trillions of dollars thanks to Bill's DNA down the road here because he's an experiencer. I mean, we're a capitalist society. What the fuck do you do with that?
By someone like me, right? I'm saying, and other people have said it. I'm not first. Once again, I'm not just me, bro. I've been saying this for years. So whatever, dude. People are all sensitive and stuff after COVID. They want to stay online all day. I don't care. I'm just telling my story. This is what happened. This is what he told me, and I've shared it, and other people have shared it. So people have had the DNA taken. People haven't had the DNA. They'll get it one way or another. You either play nice, right, or you don't. I didn't, but whatever. I wouldn't do it now anyway. I could care less. I don't need that validation from them that I'm not crazy. And 2018, I did because I didn't know any better. But through going through this, having the experiences that I did and where I'm at today in Australia and what I've gone through, yes, everyone's helped me. And it was good to get a validation from a credible person I have in writing what they think. That is cool, man, to look and go, wow, okay, I'm not just some random nut job that I made this up. Because why? You'd never talk to me again. He'd never talk to you again. You know, or if you piss him off, he'll block you, not talk to you again. You know how it is.
Yeah. So I'm still blocked. I blocked him back. I blocked him back because I was like, well, fuck it. If he decides to unblock me, he's still blocked. Fuck him.
He'll see this when I post this because I'm not blocked as far as I know. He didn't block me on email. So listen, it's such a demented, twisted world. He helped me. Greer helped me. All these people that people hate and they hate each other. I don't hate any of them, dude. I just wanted to get answers, and I've been open about what I've gone through. Why can't I wish that these people, Greer, Nolan, whoever, all these people out there couldn't just share the truth.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Helpful, right?
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that there's ulterior motives. People are human. There's all these things. You know, I mean, obviously, there's probably contracts with the government. There's involvement that we have 15 layers above us that we have no idea about, that goes deep. And there's probably national security. I mean, think about it. If our enemies got a hold of this shit and God forbid they use the same technology against us, that would be terrible too. I can see that. I can see that whole thing. From the military industrial complex perspective, right? Where we're gonna, try to protect America, and I don't want to fuck anything up with that, right? I love our country. I want the best for our soldiers, our population, of course. But when you do things that are, I don't know, man. You can't hide it forever. I mean, we're getting to a point now where, like, there's too many people. There's too many people that know what's going on. So either you make up some bullshit story, or you tell us the truth, or you just tell us that you're not doing it, and then basically they're just telling us they're not doing it, even though they've been doing it. And I got a feeling they've been doing it for a long time, and this is just another iteration of it. They're probably just perfecting it at this point. I mean, reading Secret Machines books that DeLong writes. I mean, come on. They got to be giving them enhancing drugs. They probably don't even need a drug anymore. It probably hits you with a frequency, right? It's some kind of beam, right? From anywhere. And just turn it on. I mean, I've had people that have told me that they've had psychic awakenings just turned on, like walked out of my house and boom, something happened to me. Like, I'm sure that, I mean, Puharich was doing that shit in the 60s and 70s. He was beaming people with different frequencies and controlling them. So it gets into that whole mind control thing and using those type of technologies that exist, and the Havana syndrome thing plays into a big part of that too, because a lot of these are technologically based psychic weapons, I hate to say, and mind control weapons that they've been using for fucking years. And there's a blurry line there, man, like what's legal, what's not, and that could be part of it too. They could be saving their own ass because maybe the stuff they're doing isn't really above the board. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we really just don't know. And I tagged you recently in an interview that Garry Nolan did. Yes, it was in front of all these investors, of course. Remember that. Mm-hmm. But he did say in there, I was so close to basically seeing a craft or something hands-on, and the last second, the powers to be took it out. Dude, that was me. Got dragged along on this trail. Eric Weinstein talked about. Yeah, and at the last second, they pulled the curtain out. Bro, that should be a clear indication that the powers to be are messing with you. Mm-hmm. So if you don't notice that as a human and you're staying it, like, that's why I don't want anything to do with that. All I want is my story, bro. I don't want to, they're dragging you along in and out, and the last second, no, there's nothing there, dude. That's not what I've been through. I can show people, bro, come over my house. I'll show you what's going on through meditation. They come through thought. And there's people in the government that publicly have admitted it, and ones that haven't, that are watching, monitoring, and studying us. They can do it when you sleep, bro. Like you said, they can just, maybe you don't want to come talk to them, play nice. They'll come when you sleep. I know one easy sign, people wake up, you have ringing in your ears or weird things. Dude, there's ways they'll get to you, bro. Whatever. I don't care, because if they do that, I know how to fire back. So I don't really care. I'm serious. I know consciousness. I know meditation. I know consciousness. People say, do you know the occult and all that? Dude, I've done my homework over the years, okay? I am not going to be a victim to any of that nonsense. I'm not afraid of anyone. I don't want to die, but I'm not afraid of death. I worked as a firefighter for years, and then when I moved to Australia, I became a mortician and a bomber for 4 years, which is amazing. Got me really to understand what it's like, the process of death and being around the families and all of that, and it really helped me with doing what I do all the time now, which is I just do readings now, and I've done a few things on TV. I wrote a book, all of that, about all of this. but I didn't plan on any of this years ago. It just happened.
you thought you'd be fighting fires still right now in New York, man. That's what you had visioned, right?
I work till 2026 and then just retire. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm set, bro. So it doesn't make sense what I did, but it doesn't make sense when you do what you do. But I got married. I have an amazing 4-year-old daughter. I have 2 kids as well. My wife has from my first marriage. I have a life I couldn't imagine. And the people I've met now, so going from the kooks, the crazy people that you meet initially, right? Hey, some were really good at the time. And I thought, for certain they'd be there forever, because that's what I told them.
Yeah.
You're there for me. I got you, man. I'm not going to talk bad about you. I got you, though. But always communicate with me. But once you go public and you say, I don't do that, bro. I'm not going to play that game. I just tell you my story like I've had from day one. And the people I've met now and gravitated towards now, oh, dude, I'm not looking to, no offense, but I'm not looking to stay talking to the people on YouTube and Twitter forever. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah. No.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
I want
I'm right
this
there with you.
conversation.
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
I'm looking to have this conversation, and I am having it mainstream. I have people that I am talking to and behind the scenes to have that in that context, because it's so important and it's time. It's time.
Yeah.
Enough with the nonsense. Sure. Let's tell the truth.
Yeah.
Stop.
I think
right. I don't care. I don't want to get involved with that.
I think they're scared. I think the government, everybody's kind of scared of this whole thing. That's what the big clamp coming down. That's what the infighting and with the explosion and the disinformation and the mind games and all that shit. It's like they can't the genie's out of the bottle and they're just trying to cram it back in. They're just, they're trying to push it back in all day, and it's just not going to work. And I think they know that. I think that's why I honestly believe DeLong's story. I honestly believe DeLong went to him and was like, you guys have a perception problem and let me help you fix it. You've been fucking us for so long. I can try to help you guys not look like the bad guys when this all comes out. And they probably were like, cool, because what else option do they have? And one of the theories I was talking to, my buddies, and I'm like, think about it like this. There's guys that are like our age, right? In their 40s. There's those guys that have been screwing us, that are in their 60s, maybe older even, in some of these positions that are just retiring and they're dying. And these guys that are our age, maybe a little bit older, they're inheriting this shit. They're basically getting handed this pile of disinformation campaign shit that they're like, I imagine they're sitting there going, I don't want to run with this shit anymore. Like, this is what I have to do now. Like, this is now I have to do this shit. I got to show up with the black van. Yep. Like, I don't want to be that guy. How do we get out of this? Like, this is not what I signed up for, like I imagine there's that whole changing of the guard where they're just going, man, I don't want to deal with this shit. There's like, and so I think there's a like a whole host of shit that's happening, and at the same time, whatever's going on, Duane Keir, she's intuitive psychic as well, and she reached out to me, and her and I have become friends, and she's like, we're entering a different part of, like, our solar system is entering a different part of the galaxy, like because they're always spinning, right? And she's like, and they're seeing us more and we're seeing them more, and it's like this continuation of us going, it's just kind of like feeling each other out, and we need to kind of like come to terms with it, because it's going to happen. It's just going to happen to more people, like everybody. So we got to get onto that page. And I kind of resonate with that. I'm like, well, that kind of makes sense. We're in a different sphere, a different vibration that we've never had before, as a planet. So I'm like, wow, you need to figure it out. And, all of the infighting and the shit, man, just like you were saying, I don't want to sit on Twitter all long and argue with like trolls and nitwits and like, about it.
No, not at all.
I'd rather talk to guys like you and have a good time and like be human and learn and, have fun and, but not get into that bullshit, and there's the dark side. There's really the dark side of shit, the occult shit, fucking all that other evil shit that's going on. That's real shit. It's real shit that's happening because it works and it's terrible, but the other shit's better and it's brighter and it lasts longer, but it's harder and it's light. And, I think we're just getting out of that. I think the light's finally getting shown on the darkness, which it's going to suck for a while until it gets all rooted out. But I think we're getting there, man. And I think people like you telling their stories is fucking essential, man. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing that.
No, it's no problem. And it's essential that people like myself, James, you, that are experiencing this. And then when you come forward, you once again, just keep weeding those people out. If you're really for the truth, you'll respect, man, why would this person come forward and say, why would they say that? Once again, think. People don't, they just react. oh, because so-and-so said it, that's the word of God. Well, look at someone's track record and some of the crazy conspiracies that they've been involved with. Okay. I don't need to get into that, but they've been involved with a few things that didn't pan out the way they thought at first. So yes, things do change. I'm not judging anyone. I'm just saying you come in sometimes with one intention or to do the right thing. And then you get more information and say, hey, okay, that's not what I thought it was. Or no, I don't have a problem with that, man. Where I was 5 years ago has changed. I've evolved. Things have changed. You know, that's part of being real and saying, hey, man, I messed up or I misidentified something. Or like, dude, that's part of life. You're not God. I'm not perfect, but I try my best, man. That's all I can do, man. And I have like I said, no one's telling me, no one's directing me what to do, and not gonna. And I'm glad. That's got to be awful to be controlled. And then when you get that close to seeing them, am I in the curtain? They say, nope, not yet. Dude, sick. I don't know. I wouldn't live like that. I wouldn't let anyone treat me like that. Forget about UFOs. I wouldn't let someone treat my kids or me like that, dude. Either give it to me or stop playing around or expose them. Who said that? Who told you that? Like, seriously, that is BS, dude. If someone really did it to you, they should be exposed, bro, because they're part of the problem of why we're in this whole mess of UFOs. Are they real? Are they not real? But because people like that, the whole time, they probably are. I think Weinstein's right on point. I think they're just doing this giant circle. And yes, there probably is a small truth to the phenomenon of what it really is, but most of what's going on, look, it's just never ending. So why would they release it? Why would it? I don't know. I just don't see that because they've had enough chances with these credible people. Now you're getting credible people, well, whoever people think they're credible, coming forward saying these things. And then even Weinstein said he knows that there's scientists and prominent scientists that are involved with this. Dude, you know what he's talking about. I mean, come on, dude.
Oh, yeah.
What is he talking about? He knows.
Yeah.
Say it. But it's a shame they're getting wrapped up in. They have a great career, great this, great that. And I know once you've seen this stuff, it alters you. So you want the truth. Even they are lying to you. Those powers to be. So the key with this is, don't listen to me, dude. People go out there, find other experiences. You don't listen to me. Find people that are really doing it. Go see it for yourself. Go out there, experience it, see it hands-on in the mud. And then when you do, you can be your own judge. Like, how else would you know until you actually go out and see it, right?
Yeah.
How are you going to actually know, man?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, no, I took a group of guys, they're all Freemasons, right? Brothers of mine. There was, I think a dozen of us, maybe less. And we did CE5, right? It took about middle of nowhere in Ohio. And we meditate for 25 minutes, all of us holding hands in a circle, right? I mean, these are my brothers. Like, we can do it, like just straight. And we're holding hands and we're just, listening to like just meditation music. And I'm just like, listen, we're going to do like the Greer thing. Like, just let them know where we're at. Just Google Earth or whatever. Just imagine that they're going all the way out and just bring them in, right? And, a couple of the guys are like, look, straight up, I'm a skeptic. Okay, cool. That's all right. But just, be here, right? All right.
Perfect.
2 nights in a row, right? 2 nights in a row. Orange orbs. Just hanging out. Slow, like physically couldn't move any slower without falling out of the sky. One of my buddies, my brother's is a pilot, right? He's an airline pilot for I don't know how many years, right? And he's like, it's not a fucking plane. I got color night vision with me. We're filming the whole thing. There's an air, you can see planes in the background. Like, it's like they're just right there hanging out, right? And it's like amazing. So we did it again. It's like, okay, this can't happen again. The guys were just blown away, right? Second night, sitting there, same thing, right? It got to the point they were there for so long that half the guys just went to bed. Just like,
wow.
They're like, okay, we're just gonna go to bed. But I got filmed it all. It's on my YouTube channel. I'm like,
yep.
It's just you can do it. We just meditated, right? And just like peace, love. Like, we're just here to come and make some contact with us. That's it. And the skeptic guys they're like, I don't know. I'm like, yeah, I don't know either, but it's right there.
It's either that or it's some sort of experimental testing that we don't know. And I say, if the government or the black projects are investing time and money in me, cool. Thank you. That's the coolest thing ever. Whatever it is. Thank you. It made my life real interesting. I've met real interesting people, but it's not. I know it's not, unless they have mastered consciousness and they know when I'm in my house, they send a signal to me to go outside because that's what happens. And then it crafts there. So like I get a like I feel it, like the lady said. I'm like, what? Now I'm like, oh my God, I feel like something's around. I go outside, bang, it's either there or it appears. So if the government or projects doing that, thank you. Keep doing it. My life is now fun. It's not boring and mundane. I don't just sit and watch Netflix all night. You know what I mean, bro? It's cool.
Yeah, I know. Well, so what is the feeling like you get? Like, I know everybody explains it's always different for everybody. Is it just like, like when like when your kids come in, or like, when like, you know what I mean? Like when,
Yeah. So
it's hard because like, I kind of had the thing where like, oh, I know my mom's going to call and my phone rings, or, it's kind of that kind of same
sure.
feeling.
It's like when I wake up in the morning as a kid and it's Christmas and I know the Santa's downstairs with the presents.
It's
Like
an
that.
excited feeling. Oh,
It's
wow.
literally, it's quick. I feel it's different than I'm excited or a sports team wins, or like I
Yeah,
don't get
yeah.
that feeling all the time. It's just something outside, and I'll tell my eldest who's 15, or my daughter who's 14, or even my almost 4-year-old. She's been outside and she'll go, "Daddy, lights." She
See,
points to the
you
sky.
you had that experience. So like my daughter,
Yeah,
when she was two, I was two, she was two, and she lay down on the deck. Never did this before. She said, "Daddy, lay down." And I'm like, "Wait," she's like, lay down on the deck," and she's like, "Look." So I lay down head to head with her and look, and there's a white orb above us, and I'm like,
wow.
"What?" So
Yep.
all the family's there. I got the neighbors. We've got
Yep.
binoculars. My stepdaughter comes outside. She's like, "Look, there's another one," and I'm like. Broad daylight. It
Yep.
was the 5th of July,
Yep.
2020. We're all in the backyard. I'm like, handed the neighbors binoculars. We're like, what is that? I have no idea. I don't know. But she was the one who was like, Dad, look. And she called him, yeah, yeah. She's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yep.
I'm like, it's just the kids. They get it, man. They get it. They're like, kids can see it way better, faster. They
It's
just think
there's
it's
no
that's
like filter like us where we're doubting. We're already going in the negative. You know what I mean? Because we're
it's like
doubting.
it's a balloon, it's a thing, it's a
Yeah,
day.
you're already that. So, and that's why it's best to meditate. I've noticed because you'll ground yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll go in more at that grounded level as opposed to, all right, that's BS. It's this, it's that. You're ready. And I do that when I'm just normally walking or something comes up. But a
Yeah.
kid, they don't have that. So right away, it's just, Daddy, look. She'll say to me, Daddy, look. And I have her, I filmed it. I have her on film going, wow, pretty lights. She's like, two, same thing. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
I wish that happened at two. Oh my God, it's so cool. Because
Yeah,
now that
yeah.
changes perception for everyone involved. You know what I mean? That changes everything for everyone looking at this, getting into this, and you change the conversation instead of you're a weirdo to, oh, tell me, just tell me what happened.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Taking you, there's nothing weird. It's, oh, I see these pretty lights outside, or as time evolves, you'll hear more. My older kids would tell me they had more close encounter, more
Oh,
closer to them
wow.
before I met them. Before I met them, they had
Wow.
contact. And then when I met them, they told me stories they had very close. So I was like, oh, and I didn't
Wow.
know them. I just met my wife,
Yeah,
girlfriend,
yeah.
boyfriend at the time. So they weren't making this up. They told me stories about when they were very young, and I just listened.
Mhm.
And that's all I've ever done with them. I've never told them it's this, it's that, nothing. That's for them to figure out.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is for a lot of people, it's really tied to religion, and I don't go there. Just whatever you want it to be. It's up to you, man. Me, it's beyond that. I can't put anything in it. That's minimizing it to me. I can't even put a name on it. It's
Mm-mm.
unbelievable, whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just glad it's part of my life, and I'm glad I get to talk to people like you, and like that it still happens. It's always been positive. Now, there's been the negative side. I know we know stories of how it's been negative for
Of
people,
course.
and some things like that. But I mean, I think that it it's overall a positive a thing, and I think that it's that when you look at it in that light and you're not afraid of it, I, I shut it down. And I've talked about this before. Like, I saw stuff, spirits, whatever you want to call it, ghosts, whatever. Same thing when I was a kid, and I got scared a lot. And I met a lady, Chris Woodard. She wrote this whole series of books called Haunted Ohio, and I met her. I was working radio at the time, and I was seeing stuff at the station, and she's like, "You can turn it off." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "You can turn it off." I'm like, how do you turn it off?" Like, and she's like, "You just don't want to see it anymore. You just tell it, screw off. You don't want to see it. You're just done. You don't want to see it." I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah." And it was just like, okay. So like that day, I'm like, next time I saw something, I'm like, "Fuck you. I don't want to see it anymore." Like, and
Yep.
it was a long period of time that I didn't see anything. It was blinders on, nothing happened, But I think that's what people allowed to do subconsciously. I think because of the stigma and everything else, a lot of people just put the blinders on and they're just like, I don't want to. That happened, but I'm not going to believe it. It didn't happen. I'm going to walk away. The book flies off the shelf. A train went by. Like whatever. Like come up with any reason you have, except for something that happened. But like DeLong said, like the book flies off and you go, whoa, and you get like real excited about it. Then it's gonna spin around the room or whatever, right? So it's like I think there's that whole interaction between us and it, and
Yep.
like that childlike wonder, the sense of wonderment and happiness, and be not afraid and kind of things, but which is hard in that moment. But I think that it kind of gives you back what you give it. Anyway, for me, in my experience, anyway, it's like I feel that a little bit, like where it's like if you're scared, it'll kind of make you more scared. If you're happy, it'll make you more happy. Kind of the I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, I think that it's very subjective. So whatever you're going through in life, I notice a lot of people that when I meet them and they'll tell me about the time they had an event, and if it's bad, I'll go, okay, what was going on in your personal life?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was going through a divorce.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm not all the time, but these paranormal shows that you see and all these things flying off the shelves, most of them, I've noticed people that really are doing the real work. There's something going on in the dynamic. Either mom's not talking to dad, daughter and dad are arguing, and the energy we put out feeds whatever it is. I think that poltergeists are mostly, not all, there is that rare exception, are us. That, once again, they're going out spinning because oh my God, you're freaking out. So it's feeding off the fear.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a direct reflection of, right? I'm scared. Oh my God, now they're taking me, they're poking and prodding me. I've never had that. That's never once, dude. Never. What the? I mean, that's awful. I feel awful. That's happening to people. And you can make a lot of money doing a movie or a book about that too. But
but
no, bro.
The abduction thing is bizarre. I don't know. Like you, I pull everything in and
I don't know.
I have a big berth and I just kind of take it all in, and it could be a billion things, and people are having experiences, whether that's beamed to them, whether they're really having it, whether it's they're hypnotized, whether it's an energy weapon in their heads. I don't know, but people are having experiences, and I think the best thing is people are talking about it.
I think with the abduction thing and the whole imagery of it, it sounds very human. Taking someone against their will and torturing them. That sounds like what a human does here on Earth. Other humans, right? All the time. Yeah. So if a civilization is a couple hundred more years evolved than us, or thousands or whatever, would they still be needing to do that? Dr. Greer said to me, he goes, Andrew, an advanced civilization does not need to take you to take your DNA. Your DNA is everywhere. They could just pick it up off the ground. They don't need to poke you and prod you and torture that, because if they still did that to people their age or civilizations like them, they wouldn't exist. They would have destroyed each other in a nuclear fight. I'm like, that makes sense, actually. How could you evolve and make it, if you get to that point where you're still messing with people, all right, man, you're going to throw down, or you're going to find peace. I don't see how you could keep going fighting. Eventually, someone's going to have to kill one another. That's what we do, right? Or at least it's humans. So how are they surviving that long? It sounds very human to torture someone. So I don't know, man. I just never seen it, and I've never heard of that with people that I've done this with long term. They're like, no, man, no abduction. So I don't know.
Yeah. And I always throw out the theory that we always and there could be a billion years ahead of us, 2 years. There could be people that are 40 years ahead of us, and they're just as big of an asshole as we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could exist too, that they're just and everybody thinks they're so fucking smart. Well, maybe they're just maybe they're dumber than us. But they just got better tech.
True.
Maybe they're just,
that's true.
Maybe they're assholes and they got tech somehow. And, they hot rodded some shit from shit that crashed on their planet. And now, they farm us. I don't know, but everybody always assumes, they're benevolent because they're 4 million years. Like, well, maybe they're just 100 years more advanced than they're assholes. I just like to throw it out there. I just like to throw it out there as a plausible scenario, right? They could be humans from another planet. They're just dicks like us.
Yes. And I wouldn't be shocked if I found out one day in the end that most of the phenomena, or pretty much all of it, is human, meaning it's us. Whether it's in the future or it's us, we figured this out and we're just messing with people. Because that, once again, it makes sense to keep this a secret, and it feeds that money machine. It doesn't make sense to reveal this to everyone. Now the cat's out of the bag. Now there's no need for funding if they're peaceful, but they're going to kill us, or we don't know what it is. It's mysterious. We have a threat from outer space. That makes sense to feed that and fund that to keep us safe. And I want to be safe. We all do. So why get rid of that cash cow, right? That doesn't make sense. So they're not going to give that up unless enough of us experiences come forward together and can come together and go, enough with the nonsense, enough with the
Yep.
NDAs and all that fantasy BS. You're not that important, bro. You're just another human being. You're
Yep.
not that important. You're really not. You're another soul. You die, you're gone. Your money doesn't matter. Your patents don't matter. I don't care if you're God or what, it doesn't matter. We are just humans. We're all one another's, man. If we can come together on that, come together and, hey, just share your experience, the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, man. Then we can get somewhere. But this disinfo and these characters from the government or ex-government or ex-military. Oh, I didn't see the Nimitz photos. Oh, no, I did. I did see the craft now. Make up your mind, bro. Did you see them or you didn't? Like some pilots have said. I've heard that. Some pilots, they didn't see them. Oh, no, now I saw them. No, bro, you didn't see them. You're lying. So now you want the money. Okay, bro. Stop with that. I just tell you what I've seen, dude. I have no agenda. I don't work for the government. They've never called me to the Pentagon and interrogated me, and I don't plan on it. I'm not that important. I'm not. Thank God.
Yeah. That's what
I
I
don't
keep
have
saying
those problems.
too. Yeah. I'm not important enough to get to have a van come out,
Thank God. I don't want that.
Like,
Stay away from me, dude. Go bother someone else.
Yeah. But at the same, it's good. It's good to get out and meet people and talk. And dude, I really appreciate your time and thank you for being an awesome human.
Anytime, man. Thanks for having me.
And having being as cool and just doing it for doing it and not any of the bullshit that's going on. And it's humbling and it makes me feel more energized about the whole thing now talking to you because I was in a rut for a little bit, man. It was just like, man, there's so much bullshit, to talk to somebody who's really dealing with it or dealt with it and can have the experiences and can continue to do it. And then you help people, which is amazing. And I think that's what we're all here to do is just help each other. So dude, thank you for doing all that shit that you do all the time. And I'm sure you hear it enough, but dude, thanks for being you, honestly.
No problem. And I'm sure you'll put my link up if people need to find me or anyone DMs me on social media. I always get back to people. I'm not going to block you. I'm not going to not respond unless somebody is rude. That's the only way to offend me or my family. Obviously, it's end the conversation. But I have no problem talking, dude. I want to get answers. But if we block or we don't respond or we play these games, you're just whoever it is, man. That's not going to help anything. So if you want the truth, man, you're entitled to your own opinion. Like, that's fine. But I want to bring facts and people like you to come forward with our facts and compare and go, okay, man, let's see what this is saying, this pattern of people that don't want the truth out. I want the truth out.
Right.
No, bro. And people that are on that page, you can contact me. And I found enough people through sticking with this, through those times you talked about. Dude, I've had tons of them, man. I went through all sorts of things. This is not an easy road, dude. I had an easy life. I could have stayed a firefighter and not said a word and just watched this on YouTube and laughed, right? I didn't have to. I could have.
Yeah,
or I could have had an anonymous name and played a game, and I didn't, bro. So I put it on the table for a reason, bro, and I'm not backing down. I don't care who you are, who you think you represent, bro. I am not backing down, dude. I have nothing to hide. I want this out, dude. I want the truth out.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that, man. That's so rad.
Anytime, man.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Appreciate it. Huge. Well, I'll put all your links down. We can get a hold of you, all your stuff.
Your
book, everything.
Problem,
we'll hook that up. And
man, I will be back. I will be back in the States to film. I'm on a TV series on A&E right now, but I am doing another individual TV series, and I finished writing a book that'll get released at that point. It's going to be dynamite, bro. There's all things I've worked on through COVID when nobody, was around. I just got in the zone, bro. Right. I tell people, just write, man. Write your truth, share your story, get it together. And when the timing's right, you'll meet people and you can share your story. Don't worry about anyone says, man, you just share that thing. And man, 2024 coming up, dude, it's going to be giant. I'll be back in America. We'll be all around doing C5 and these amazing things. So we'll link up in person.
Yeah,
we'll link up
dude,
in person and do this.
I can't wait, man. That would be so rad. Hook up. Maybe we'll get James out. We'll get Indoli out there.
That's right.
Get him out there. That'd be super awesome. Yeah, totally. Because I think I just noticed when they had that group of guys. The more people, it just seemed to like amplify it or something. It just seemed like it was just a bigger thing.
If you're on the right, you're all on the right page, and you're all for the right intention, then it can happen. If everyone's all over the place now, dude, then do it by yourself or one other person. But you have like 4 or 5 guys that are all on ready to, dude. You will have amazing things, and you have 5 points of view. So man, we'll do this. We'll do this.
Dude, that's going to be super rad. I can't wait, man. That's going to be cool. Dude, thanks for Awesome. And I'm so excited for all your new stuff, man. That's going to be so cool, man. The new stuff that's coming out. I mean, you're going to be filming like you're going to spend the whole year over here filming. That's going to be nuts.
Yep.
That's awesome, man.
Yep.
I can't wait. Can't wait to see all of it. Dude, thanks again, man.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. You're
Yeah.
very
I mean,
welcome.